In this week's Two Wheels Better, Honda's new 600 Hornet. And just when you thought you'd seen the last, a few more cock-ups. And there's a chance to win tickets for this year's BMF show. But first, let's get dirty. No fancy leathers this week, no fancy shiny paintwork, no fancy race replicas. This week we're going to get dirty, full of mud, because we're going trail riding, off-road riding. Or not off-road riding, apparently it's called off-tarmac riding, or something, I don't know. All will be explained. So here we are on a grand day out in the back of beyond, the middle of nowhere, with the Lancashire TRF, and this is chairman of the Lancs TRF, John Gardner. Is that the right title, chairman?
Yes, Paul, that's correct.
That's a grand title. How do you get to be chairman of the TRF?
I turned up late for an annual general meeting on one occasion and he made me chairman, so I've been chairman ever since.
Oh, is that your punishment, right? Well, tell me, what is the TRF to the people who don't know, and what do you get up to?
The TRF is the Trail Riders Fellowship. It's a national organisation dedicated to the preservation of green lanes and unsurfaced, untarmacked legal roads.
So is it a massive organisation? Do you have loads and loads of members?
No, there's about 2,000 members nationally, and it's organised by county or by region. For example, in Lancashire we have some 40 or 50 members. In Ribble Valley, which is also part of Lancashire, they have another 40 members. I think the Peak District has 3 districts in it, and it covers most of England and Wales, but not Scotland, because there's different laws apply in Scotland.
Oh, right. What, different laws as regards to using different parts of the countryside?
Different laws applying to rights of way, yes.
Right. Okay, so it sounds rather like an owners' club in a way. It's a national thing, but there's branches throughout the country. Do you get together with other people and you go and visit them and they come and ride in your parts?
Yeah, very much so. We'll go and stay for a weekend with a group down in the south of England, and they'll come up to ride with us in Lancashire and in Yorkshire, or in the Peak District. I've just led a group over in the Isle of Man for a long weekend, and Isle of Man's excellent for trail riding.
Yeah, oh, I can imagine. Well, what kind of people do you get? I would imagine you don't get the boy racer, is that right?
Yes, I think the odd boy racer that comes finds that perhaps it's not for him, because one thing we're not doing is racing. We're riding responsibly and using only legal roads, which gives us opportunities to see the countryside and yet sort of preserve the roads that we've got.
Right. And I think there's one or two guys here with us today that have done a bit of motocross in the past and trials. Is that the case?
Yes, I think there's a lot of retired trials riders and perhaps retired motocrossers who come out on these bikes with us at our rather slower, steadier pace.
So this is the TRF Home for Retired Trails Riders. I think that's a better title, don't you?
I think it could well be that, yes.
Another member of the Lancs TRF is this man, Countryside Warden for Wildlife, is that right?
Well, Wildlife Warden for North West Water, yeah.
Now, North West Water, as I understand, own virtually all this land that we've been on today?
Yeah.
Right.
All the trails we've rode today are on North West Water land.
So we're quite good to have you on our side, aren't we?
Hope so.
I think we are, yeah. So
some of them were concessionary routes that have been negotiated with North West Water, so we've got the keys to the gates and we ride them about 7 times a year.
Right. So there must be problems with, I mean, bikes have got a bad image, like it or not, they've got a bad image. There's a stereotype, people think bikes around the countryside, they're going to frighten the animals. I mean, how do you get over
the
that?
bikes won't frighten the animals at all, because you go past quick, you're not there for a long time. But we do get a problem in certain areas, and it's mainly young lads, which is a shame. They've got bikes that are not road legal, they just scream around, some of them have been pinched, and it gives all bikers then a bad image. So here in the TRF, all our bikes are road legal, and we try and educate them, certainly when we're out and about. If we come across any lads motocrossing as such, we'll stop, we'll have a chat, and usually they've got a problem, you know, the bike's not legal and they can't get about places, but at least we can it gives us the opportunity to chat and explain the problem they're causing for other bike users, certainly trail riders.
Right. Excellent. So you think we're winning the battle in the countryside?
Oh yeah, we're winning slowly but surely.
So perhaps you're wondering what we're using for all this mucky stuff. Well, I'm actually using this oldish Yamaha XT350. I'm not being rude there, Rodger. This is Rodger Davies, the man who's very kindly, very foolishly let me ride this bike of his. Rodger, without being rude, this isn't worth a fortune, is it?
It's certainly not, no.
So,
no.
What would you get for this?
Probably around about 800, maybe even £1,000, possibly.
Right. So that's just what the point I'm trying to make is that you don't have to have fancy stuff. to have a lot of fun with this, do you?
Certainly not. No. You can spend £500 and you can have a bike that will give you an awful lot of enjoyment, or you can go to the other extreme and spend £4,000.
Right. Yeah, so we've got everything here from this. I mean, XC350, it's, solid sort of thing, but nothing fancy. XR250 over there, Honda, I mean, £4,500 worth. And I noticed we've got 3 bikes today, these Yamaha Ceros, which is a grey import. Is that unusual?
It's not unusual at the moment, but then the big motorcycle companies don't seem to send us the sort of bikes that we require.
Oh, right. So you're
we
saying...
have to buy things under a grey import.
Oh, right. So what you're saying... What are you short of? What's the trail bike world short of?
The best sort of trail bikes are things that are light, they're economical, they have a long range, because where we ride quite often garages are few and far between. They must be cheap, they must be easy to repair,
right,
and they must be reasonably powerful to have a reasonable road speed.
Right. So you're looking at what, sort of 250-ish, 250 cc's?
Yes, and anywhere between 200, 250 is the best sort of capacity for what we do, yes.
So your argument to the manufacturers who are all watching this now is you haven't got enough choice when it comes to 250 trail bikes, is that right?
That is right, yes.
Right.
That's why we've so many grey imports.
Right, I see. Right, all right. Well, they're doing well. These little 225 Ceros are going the bomb today. But not just the bikes. I mean, you can spend as much or as little on the bikes, but the gear. I mean, I've got my dirty old motocross boots on that I've had for donkey's years, and a scruffy nylon, and you won't have any more fun, will you, if you spend thousands than the guy who spends £500? Is that right?
That is right, yes. This is certainly not a fashion parade.
Yeah.
We tend to ride through the winter, and once something gets covered in mud, and once it's raining a lot, everything looks about the same.
Right. Just one other very important point that I must touch on. All these bikes are road legal, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Road legal.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's because we go on the public road, simple as that, is it?
That's right. Some of these non-tarmac roads, in fact all the non-tarmac roads that we ride are still legal roads,
All right.
and therefore every bike has to be 100% road legal.
Well, you might think this is a male domain. You'd be very wrong to think that. And just to prove the point, Cath Ainscough. Cath, our token lady out with us today, how did you get involved with this?
Well, my husband started green laning it, and I thought, well, if you can't beat them, join them. So I did.
Oh, right. So, have you ever done any road stuff? I mean, you obviously have a bike licence. Have you been riding a long time?
No, only about 2 years. I started off on a trolley to learn. Got a road bike, but it was a bit too heavy for me to handle, so I went back to a trolley bike and not looked back since.
So you're having more fun doing this than you... What was your road bike that you had?
It was a VFR 400.
Right.
Beautiful bike, but too heavy for me.
Yeah, but I mean, that's capable of giving you a fair bit of excitement, but you get more excitement with this, you think?
Oh, yeah. The slower the speeds, the different terrain, it's brilliant.
And you're on this little Yami, this little Cero thing, which, you can pick these up for what? Under £2,000, is that right?
Yeah, 1,800 I paid for mine.
And it's just the job, I suppose, isn't it?
Oh, it's brilliant, yeah. It's the best bike I've had.
Is it?
Yeah.
Good. Well, and there's a physical element to this as well, isn't there? Because it's better than going to the gym, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And there's the views as well, and it changes all the time.
Right.
As well as the weather.
Right. Excellent. I know, we've been good to us today, we've not got wet yet. Yeah. So you would recommend it to as many people as you can?
Yeah, very easy for women to do.
Yeah. Alan Hodson, Honda Man, XR 250. 250.
Yes,
nice bike, smart bike. Fully kitted out, all the fancy gear. What do you get out of this, Alan?
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure. It's just enjoying riding motorbikes.
Yeah.
Not on tarmac.
Right.
Although on roads.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Right, because these are roads, aren't
Yes, they are. Yes, it's not off-road as such, it's off tarmac.
Right.
And that's the difference. They are, as you've said before, they have to be legal motorcycles.
Yeah.
Because you're riding on roads. But the terrain doesn't look like a road.
No.
Because people haven't used it. So
Right.
there's no tarmac there.
And have you done anything like this before? I mean, have you done any off-road stuff, motocrossing?
Yes, I've competed in motocross, but that was many, many years ago when I was, a lot younger. But what I like about trail riding is the fact that you can go at your own pace.
Yes.
It's not a competition, and you just enjoy yourself riding your motorcycle for between 8 and 10 hours a day. It's
Right.
wonderful.
So you must cover a lot of mileage. I mean, we've had a bit. We've disrupted your run today, I
Yes,
know,
you
because we've stopped with cameras and had you going past us and all this. But how far would you go on a typical run?
Between 80 and 150 miles, but obviously that depends on the terrain.
Right. And all over the country?
Yes, Hampshire, Oxfordshire, Wiltshire,
Right.
Wales.
Where's the best part of the country for trail riding? I know what you're going to say. You're going to say Lancashire, aren't you?
No, Yorkshire probably.
Yorkshire.
Yes, even though I'm a Lancashire man. Well, I
Right.
don't know. Wales is good as well. You know,
They're all
North
good,
Wales,
aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
There's some superb lanes.
I thought I knew this area. I don't live far from here, as you know.
No.
And I thought I knew this area fairly well. I've seen places today and visited places that I didn't even know existed.
Exactly. And the sights that you see are wonderful. The wildlife, it's great.
Great. Do you go abroad doing this?
No, I don't. I have to have a word with Hilda, my wife, about that.
That's the next step, is it?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Now, as you can imagine, when you're out on these roads, very, very bumpy, very, very sharp rocks on some of them, you get some damage to your bike occasionally, punctures, etc. Now, this man, Peter Knagg. Peter, you're head of maps and jargon. That's right, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, right. Well,
Talk all day about rubbish.
about byways and highways and
That's right,
ruts
yeah.
and what they call these things. Ruts.
Rups, roads of public paths, byways.
Oh, right, look, forget that. I'm not into the jargon. What I want to know is this. I saw you fiddling in there before. This very comprehensive toolkit that you've got here. Is there anything you can't fix?
No, this is the compulsory toolkit. Carries just about everything for the bike in there. There's a hand pump in there as well. A couple of spare tubes. Tow rope just in case we can't get the bike going. So we've pulled many a bike occasionally on the road. Although you've got to be very careful.
Have you ever been out and something's happened, like you've had a breakdown and with your multitude of attachments here, not been able to fix it?
No, I've been dragged home once or twice before with the old tow rope when the piston's blown in the engine.
So what's the biggest problem you get on these roads? Is it punctures?
I think punctures, yeah. Obviously, you've got to make sure that all the nuts and bolts are tightened up. I mean, when you're on the road, you don't often get a lot of vibration, but when you're on the rough stuff, most of the nuts and bolts have got to be really tightened up. Make sure you got the lock washers on and everything else like that. Otherwise, you'll soon find bits of your bike start dropping off, and you've lost them when you turn around.
Yeah, I can imagine. Right. So, so you're a good man to have along, aren't you, with this?
Yeah, I've just actually given somebody 2 paracetamols. Who just
Have you even got them as well?
Yeah.
Medical kit as well, is it? Flipping
Yeah, a
out.
little bit as well.
This man thinks of everything. Brilliant. Fantastic. How do people get involved?
Well, we have adverts in a number of national monthly magazines, and also we're on the internet, or you can find us through the BMF.
Right. And is it the TRF? Is it a club? I mean, there's a membership fee.
There's a national membership fee of £18 a year,
Right.
and many of the regions charge an extra £3 or so to be a member of that particular county's branch.
Brilliant. It's an absolute bargain. Don't miss out on this. It's great fun.
Coming up after the break, your chance to win tickets for this year's BMF show.
Well, just in case you thought that road testing bikes was a glamorous job, it does rain. And it's raining here today at Donington of all places. And this is for the launch of the Honda Hornet. There's 160 bikes here and 160 dealers. Shortly we've got to assemble for a Le Mans type start on the start-finish straight. And I'll be back with you in a few minutes. Riding the Hornet, like most unfaired bikes, reminds you of the agony and the ecstasy of bike riding. The agony in combating wind and rain is the best disincentive I know against travelling at highly illegal speeds, while the ecstasy comes from feeling that same wind tugging at you as you blast a space through the air. Back to basics in a way, but not too basic. This is, after all, a Honda. It's got 4 cylinders, 92 brake horse, and the tyres from a Fireblade. So basic it's not, but fun it is. So just what you get with your Hornet. For a start off, you get Fireblade sized tyres front and rear. Pretty hefty for a bike of this size, but nevertheless makes you feel nice and secure. You've got CBR6 front brake discs. Same goes for the calipers. They've got slightly softer pads in them, but that's just to give you more feel. Forks, pretty ordinary, non-adjustable, but they're doing the job after all. One of the most interesting parts is this frame, not a perimeter frame like on the CBR6, but a box section spine frame. You can just see some outriggers here to the top of the engine, and then the centre one from the headstock runs straight down under the tank, under the seat, right to the tail. Now the engine, of course, is the heart of any bike, and this is no exception. You don't normally see this engine exposed to the elements because normally it's under a CBR with all the glass fibre around it. But this is it, very nice paint finish on it, make it look prettier. Lots of little nooks and crannies to clean though, so that's going to be difficult for you. But anyway, basically the same engine. It has been slightly detuned by a couple of brake horsepower, and they've also increased the torque lower down. And one of the ways they've done this is with slightly smaller carburetors, just a couple of millimetres down from the normal CBR, and also a very fancy exhaust system here. It's a 4x2x1, swept up at the tail there. Got little balancing pipes in between the down pipes, and also it's got an air injection system into the exhaust ports. This is really not so much for efficiency, but it's to improve emissions, or rather, when I say improve emissions, reduce the emissions, which is all important these days, and it's something they've had on the Swiss bikes for some time. It hasn't got any bodywork, but it has got some nice styling touches, one of which is this very bulbous tank here, and it's where Honda got the name for the Hornet from. It looks like the sort of swelled out body of a little stinging Hornet. But if those are the cosmetics, it's got some other nice touches mechanically on this, especially in the chassis. Down here on the swinging arm, this is basically off the 250 Hornet, which is only available in Japan or as a grey import, but it's been beefed up somewhat. Pivots from these plates back here, sandwiched up with the main spine frame down the bottom, and it's got a single monoshock down inside. Slightly different to the CBR because it hasn't got the linkage. It's mounted direct off the swing arm there, but it works well enough, and that's adjustable in 7 stages for preload. No adjustment for shock absorbing, but nevertheless the spring preload on it. And while we're down here looking at the back of the bike, you've got this massive Fireblade tyre and wheel. This is a 180 section back tyre, straight off the blade. It's not that the Hornet's got all that much power to use, but it does give you more stability. And also, let's be honest, it gives you sexy looks. Well, I've been out on the track, but this bike, let's face it, in the main is going to be used on the roads. So let's go and see how it performs on the road. The riding position is fairly aggressive, with flattish bars and a low seat height of just 790mm and low weight of 176 kg. It's lower and lighter than its swoopy brother, the CBR 600, and before riding it I thought it might be too small for my 6'2" frame, but it felt nice, really friendly and chuckable. The 6-speed gearbox is a bit clunky, but it does the business in keeping the motor spinning up to its 12,000 rev limit. The engine is virtually the same as the CBR, but has been rejigged to produce more torque lower down the rev range, which is probably where most Hornets will spend their lives. But having said that, if you want to give yourself an adrenaline rush, just open it up and, well, buzz off. Its steel spine frame might appear low-tech, but so what? It delivers the goods. It's 10 kilos lighter than the CBR, the wheelbase is a tad longer too, and with those big fat Fireblade tyres keeping you in touch with the tarmac, handling is light and road holding excellent, especially in the wet. And this is despite fairly ordinary suspension by sports bike standards. Brakes are straight from the CBR6 but have softer pads to give a bit more feel and are well suited to the Hornet. Again, very welcome in wet weather. Styling wise, I like it. It's got some nice touches such as the tucked in, tucked up exhaust and the white faced instruments. But does the Hornet cut it in the street bike, bandit, monster, phaser, street fighter battle? Yes it does. It's well made, it's beautifully finished, and the high level exhaust even puts a sting in its tail. But what it all comes down to, like most bikes these days, is personal preference. You pays your money and you takes your choice. Priced at £4,995, this latest addition to the street bike class is bound to cause a stir. But like any Hornet buzzing around in a crowd, that shouldn't be a surprise.
Well, it just worried me because there's a field full of sheep there looking rather...
Oh yes, they're all running. Oh right, yeah, I think I'll
Can you make a U-turn? I bet you can make it Sizewalter, can't you?
Does that flash through your mind, you know, oh, hell, at my home circuit as well, you know, I mean, does it all happen that quick and but you still think of the fans, do you?
It happens quick, but, you know, queue, telephone.
So do you have a quick sort of scan round and look at all these faces, faces?
You just feel it, you know, they go quiet and it's oh, never mind, next race and phone's ringing again.
Body piercing. Body piercing is a new trend. Right, I'm going for this now, right. Don't laugh, Paul. Body piercing.
So what are you doing here, mate?
Don't ask. Keep the chair still.
Right.
Right, go on.
So Wayne, what on earth are you doing here?
4.5 days. It was. You nearly stomach then. Carry on. Anyway.
How's your battery still?
Go on, Bennett. Right, okay.
So this runs on gas, that.
Colour.
It's a very old camera.
Do it.
Professionals, that's all.
Oh, we've got to listen to them. Faces at me.
Just get it, you still have a laugh at that. I said it was a crap idea. Crap idea in the first place.
Oh, I've gone now.
Oh, right then. Should we do another piece outside?
Would it be better if I was? So Wayne, what on earth are you doing sat here drinking tea?
4.5.
Wayne, what on earth are you doing sat here drinking tea?
4.5 days ago you said meet me in the Forking Cafe.
But there don't need to be like that.
No, sorry.
How would you like to win a pair of tickets for the forthcoming BMF show, which attracts over 50,000 people from across Europe and provides something for all the family? To win one of our 5 pairs of tickets, we'd like to know which manufacturer recently introduced a training program for anyone buying a bike above 600cc. Answers on a postcard to this address. And in next week's Two Wheels Better, at last the moment we've all been waiting for. Wayne is out on a full road test.